Coconut is the main cash crop of Lagos State. Beyond being used for food, it is renowned for its multifunctional uses, health benefit, and most importantly, its global market relevance. In 2019, the coconut industry attracted about 50 billion naira transactions annually into the state. Many SMEs are trying to tap into that business, and one of them is the Jam Coconut Food Company, run by Ebun Feludu.
So my name is Ebun Feludu, Ni Olatoye Feludu. So I run Jam, the coconut food company. It's actually a family business, and what we do is basically process coconuts into brain food, skin food, soul food. We're all about value addition to the coconut. Okay, well, the truth is I've always been a maker. I've always been a maker of things since I was very little. I've liked the process of, just making fine things or nice things. I like the idea of creation. And in 2016, my kids, I gave them a recipe for a coconut banana bread, and they went to a fair and they sold it out. And they went to another fair, they sold it out. And I thought, I'd gotten to a certain age and I thought to myself, my media business was great, but it was really largely tied to me. And I thought, how can I scale this business? How can I make this a legacy business? And I thought perhaps this coconut, could be, that legacy for my family and my kids and all that. And so we started exploring things like, listen, okay, you guys, you're going to fairs, you're selling. School is going to start. This is the holiday, long holiday. School is going to start. What's going to happen? How do we make this able to work without you standing there being cute and selling your stuff? And so we started exploring all of the things that coconuts could do. And we started actually with coconut milk. And this is because I'm lactose intolerant. And I had a violent reaction to milk one particular December of 2016. And we thought, okay, listen, enough. Let me just find some alternative plant milk. And we started with coconut milk. And gradually we found that so many other people were lactose intolerant and they were really embracing this product. And basically that's how the business started. Okay, so I had an adopted daughter who was with us at the time. She's not with us anymore. So it was Joba, Annabori, and Mary. Mary was 13. Annabori is 11 this year, so 11 minus 5. So Annabori was like 5, and Joba was like 2 or 3, but they were really doing stuff. They baked that bread on their own. I gave them the recipe. I would pop in and see what they were doing. And then the sales, they were excellent at sales. In fact, my youngest, who is now 6, going to be 7, he's actually the best at sales. So when we have trade shows and stuff like that, he's amazing, at sales. So yeah, that's basically how they've grown over time. They started at about 5, and now they're old. So I wear a number of hats. So I chair a women's group called All Ladies League. I'm really passionate about women. If you know anything about my background, you know that I worked for True Love magazine, which is a women's magazine, for many years. So I'm a major advocate for women's economic emancipation, because that's where liberty is. So this particular year, I got an invitation from the Women Economic Forum in India. This was 2016 or 17 or so. And they said, listen, Ebun, we know all the work you do with women. We want you to come and bring other Nigerian women to come for this conference. Women all over the world will be here. It's happening in Delhi. And so I got a few people to attend. But I said to them, listen, I've been attending conferences for, I don't know, maybe 20 years now. And for me, I'm at this point in my life where I'm starting this business, and I really want to get a lot of knowledge about the coconut. And I'd done a lot of research, and I knew that, the south of India, where Kerala and all of those places, they had a massive coconut industry. And I said to them, hook me up with factories. I want to work there. I want to sort of get my hands dirty and learn. And they said yes. So I went off to India. I went for the Women Economic Forum, which was fantastic. Met amazing women from all over the world. And then from there, the organizers owned a university. And I flew down south to Kerala there, and they hosted me and took me to all of the major factories where they process coconuts. So think about everything from the universities that studied coconut seedlings and planted them, like the different variants for different products, and people who used the shell to make cocoa peats for nurseries. I went there, worked with them, studied all that. People who used, if you go outside here, you'll see all of our coconut shells. So there are companies that all they did was process coconut shells into activated charcoal. Saw that. And then saw others that did organic coconut oil, then others that did like flakes and desiccated coconuts, you know. And so I did all of that, got my hands dirty. But at this time, we were still working from our kitchen. But I came back to Nigeria with a new vision, a bigger vision. And yeah, so that's basically where I got trained. I think I'm also a part of another company called First African Coconuts. And that company is completely dedicated to coconut plantations. And one of the great lessons I learned from that is basically expertise. So like I say to people, we have a love affair with coconuts and nothing else. That allows us to dig deep and really own our expertise. So in Nigeria, we have cocoa, you know, we have groundnuts, we have all sorts of other cash crops that we need to master. So we take one and we master it end to end. And so either we have a university or a technology school for that particular raw material or that commodity, so that people can come in there and actually learn about it end to end and decide that, look, this is going to be my life. What is it? I can make stuff with groundnut shells. I can make stuff with the peanuts itself. I can make peanut butter. I can make this. I can make all sorts of things. You'd be amazed with the coconut how many things you can make, in the hundreds of different products that can come out of it. So it's that level of commitment and expertise to that one commodity, I think, will make a huge difference, you know, in the agricultural space and, you know, basically our whole agri space and export altogether. Lagos State is the largest producer of coconuts in the country. But Lagos State is also the smallest state in terms of landmass in the country. So as the awareness for coconuts increased, the demand increased also. So yes, a lot of our coconuts come from Badagry, some from Ekpe, but also from Benin Republic, Togo, and Ghana. Ghana is, I mean, and we go for the festivals there as well. So we know what goes on across the West Coast in terms of all of these different countries. Ghana is completely committed to planting of coconut trees, and they have, you know, acres and acres and miles and miles and miles just dedicated to this, you know, cash crop. They don't play. Thankfully, in Lagos, we are blessed with a department under the Ministry of Agriculture called, an agency actually, called Lagos State Coconut Development Authority. And many people don't even know that exists. But if you look in the map of Lagos State, you'll see that there are 2 coconut trees there. And it's one of the things that the past government and the current government are very committed to. So our commissioner is incredibly committed to it. And the GM of the Lagos State Coconut Development Authority, we work very closely with him, Mr. Dapo Olakuleyin. They're amazing and phenomenal, and they're deeply committed to the coconut. But there's still so much more that we can do and that needs to be done. It is not really economically viable for you to farm coconuts in a place like Lagos, given the value of the land. So Ekpe is, you know, even Ekpe land is becoming even more expensive with all the development going on there. But Ekpe, yes, that's possible. But all of those sort of the ends of the states, you know, there's a possibility there, but there's still a limitation in terms of availability of space. I strongly believe that the Southwest needs to come together in this area of coconuts, and let's explore Ogun State. There's a lot more land there that's affordable, and we can go and say, okay, let's take this many miles, this many acres, and commit it to coconut plantations. We can also, with the Africa Trade Agreement, work with Benin Republic, because there's a lot more processing going on in Nigeria than many of these other countries, to say, okay, how can we work here? There's, you know, we've got this borderless agreement now across the continent. How can we get raw material from you and process here? So it needs to be, it's not just a one approach, but in terms of actually planting coconuts, in terms of farmlands in Lagos metropolis, I think it will be difficult. Yeah. However, homes that have the space can and should plant coconut trees. If we have enough of them, we will be more than happy to offtake coconuts from those homes.
It is one thing to have a good product, but distribution is an essential for business growth. Ebun tells us how she navigates this.
Let me go back. There's so many ends. Like the spectrum is, okay, you source your raw material, you process it, you supply, you get paid. Let me go to the end. In the beginning, we were all about, let's be in as many places as possible. And, I think there was even a feature about, oh, they're in 100 outlets and stuff like that. But we quickly learned that it's not about those numbers, it's really about the quality. And so we began to just actually delist some outlets who would hold on to our products, sell them, and continue to trade with our money. And repeatedly, we would go to them and, it just wasn't working out. So we delisted those. And so over the years, we've just had to build a good list of outlets that are responsible and they pay promptly. So that was a challenge in the beginning, where you've supplied and people refuse to pay you. You need to buy raw material and continue the cycle, but you're there. Yeah. So we've gone flat and red many times and basically had to kind of resurrect with personal funds again and learn as you go along and just basically, even come up with new strategies on basically routes to market for the product.
Coconut is one of the important and useful palms in the world. However, in Nigeria, coconut farming is a cash tree that receives very little attention. Nigeria's expenditure on coconut importation annually cannot be described as anything short of outrageous, as shown by data from the United Nations Statistical Office. According to the president of the National Coconut Producers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mma Okoroji, Nigeria's importation of coconut has risen over years by more than 80% as the country has not been able to produce enough coconuts locally. Low production as a result of old plantations and the varieties have reduced coconut industrialization. Lagos produces close to 70% of the coconut production in Nigeria, and a chunk of it comes from Badagry. In every 10 coconuts that are seen in Nigeria, 7 of them are produced in the state. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, Nigeria ranks 19th, far behind Indonesia, Philippines, and India, as the top most producers of coconuts in the world. Coconut farming is definitely a lucrative business that yields enormous profit. Thus, there is an urgent need for Nigerians to invest in coconut production.
Well, you see, I'm from Ibadan. And one of the things I learned very quickly when we're having issues with staff was, listen, let me get people who are like me, because I'm a really hard worker. And so I basically went back home and to just look around and in Ibadan, And so some of my staff are from there, and we created accommodation for them so that they don't have to worry about how to get to the factory. They don't have to worry about, a lot of things. A lot of things are cared for. And so they're there, they move from the accommodation space to the factory space and get the work done. And that has worked quite nicely for us over the last 3 years at least. Yeah. We have challenges with multiple taxation, but also, I hate to say this because I find it to be a bit cliche, but funding, and I don't want to say that because I firmly believe that when you have a good product and you've perfected your product, you can scale, and it's scalable. Funding will come to you, and we have had funding come to us. But the question is, was it the right fit? Was the funding the right fit? So funding has been a challenge. Finding funding and then finding the right fit, because you want to scale, and sometimes, so for instance, our route to market now is quite different. We don't only supply supermarkets. We do B2B supply for a lot of large factories. We supply hotels, we supply, resorts and places like that. So those are sort of like good partners to have. But sometimes when you want to make all of those things happen, like the supplies to your retail outlets and your B2Bs and your hospitality, making everything happen at the same time stretches your funds. So sometimes you need funds, so finding that the funds that is the right fit can be a challenge. But we just keep at it, and you see one, it works, it doesn't work, then you move on to the next one, and that's basically how we've done it. There will always be challenges, in business, but it's going into business with that mind that you are stronger than the challenge, and you're bigger than the challenge. And yeah, okay. So far, what we've been doing is people will come and say, oh my God, I love your product. I want to distribute in this country or this space. And they'll just come, buy a whole bunch, pay us off, and then we'll take it to whatever country. There's the UK, we've had the US, we've had the UK, we've had Ireland, and that's how we've done it so far. However, in 2019, I attended the Global Expo Botswana. I also took a few entrepreneurs along, and the objective was to see how we could find, retail partners and stuff in that country. And that has been a long journey, but we're now at the point where we're getting ready to actually ship to Botswana. We have a partner there who they've got the largest market share in terms of retail in the country. So we're working on a distributorship to Botswana through that. My family, we are the guinea pigs. So we always start with us, to see what do we like, what do we need. So we try it, we like it, and then we start to sample with, other people. And because we do trade shows, we give people samples when they come to the trade shows and see how they go. But the coconut flakes, we actually started as B2B. So we supply in tons to factories. And we just thought, okay, we've invested so much in equipment for this B2B relationship. Why don't we also do retail? And so that's how the retail for the coconut flakes started. And it turns out a lot of people want to have those coconut flakes with their yogurt for breakfast in the morning. So you have cornflakes, you have all of these other things, but you don't just have a box that has, coconut flakes. And so we just started, we put it out there. And sometimes it's just a mock-up we'll put out there and then get the reaction out of people and then get people to sample it. And that's how we know, if it will work or not. And that's basically how all our products have evolved. I'll give you an example. Plain coconut oil. A lot of women will say, listen, I know I need to put coconut oil on my body. I know a lot of all these other things have chemicals and it can cause breast cancer and all that, but I just don't like that smell of coconut. And that's how we developed the coconut lemongrass oil, the coconut lemon oil, the coconut lavender oil. And they just instantly became big hits because we listened to the customers and we created the products, in response to their need and their feedback. And, and I'm really all about little and big wins, because I believe very firmly that those little wins inspire the next and inspire the next. So I'm constantly setting myself up for these little wins, because I believe they're magnets for the next. So from the time we started, I knew that I wanted to get our products into Shoprite because scale was on my mind. I was not here to do a mom and pop shop. This was something that had to be big. And I tried to approach them at Shoprite. We tried, this and that, it wasn't working. And then I heard of a program last year. So it's the AWP vendor program, and they're helping women get listed with Shoprite. So I applied for the program. 2,500 people applied. 100 people got in. Maybe 60 something people went through the program, and 6 people were accepted to stock with Shoprite, and we were one of them. So that was a very big win, not only for us, but it really inspired a lot of people as well to just keep at it. Another thing is we've been supplying Legend. It's the Hilton. It's run by Hilton. Our coconut cinnamon balls. It's in all of their rooms for, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months, almost a year now. And we just got a call to say Abuja Hilton also wants it. And if you look at the magnitude of, I mean, the Lagos Hilton, the Legend is really nice and, you know, sizable, but Abuja is like, you know, and so, yeah, they called us and they said, oh, they did displays and were approved, you know, and so we're getting ready to display. So that, for me, is a really major win. So yeah, we're happy. And even coming out with a product that people love, for me, is a win, you know? When we come out with a product and people actually love it, you know, because it's responding to people's needs and they say, okay, yes, you know, I'm glad this came. That's also a win for me.
She has a passion for women, and this is evident in her staffing. Most of our employees are female.
I hire mostly women. So if you look around, you find that it's mostly women, you know, around here, even the admin, accounts, the factory supervisor, and all of that. And this is because, first of all, I find that a woman that has a child that she wants to put to school, you know, she's so laser focused on sort of delivering work and delivering excellence. Not because women are so selfless, not because of herself, but just because of the other things, the other humans, the other lives she wants to touch. So yes, the company is a space where women can come, get work to support, you know, their families, but it's also a place where we teach excellence. And I always say to my staff that we're not coconut processors, we're ambassadors of excellence. And it's important to me that that excellence that we learn here translates into other areas of the women's lives. Yeah. My name is Ebun Feludu, CEO Jam the Coconut Food Company, and my products are proudly made in Nigeria.